Hello guys and welcome to Matt Stories. Today we have some stories from the subreddit Am I the A-hole? Our first story is: Am I the a-hole for ruining my partner's early birthday celebration after he kept calling me crazy and telling me to leave? I, 23 female, went out last weekend with my partner John, 24 male, for an early birthday celebration with his friends. His birthday was the following weekend, but he wanted to celebrate early and invited me along. We met at his house and then rode with some of his friends to a pre-drink at one of their apartments before heading to a bar. The Uber dropped us off slightly away from the right spot, and as we walked, I was making conversation. John suddenly pulled me aside and told me I was acting crazy, talking too much, and that I should be quiet. That threw me off, but I let it go. At the apartment, I greeted everyone and sat at the table waiting for my sister to arrive. John asked me to sit with him and his friends, but I said I was fine where I was. One of his friends, Alex, sat near me and asked about uni, and we had a normal conversation until my sister came. She and I spoke in our native language, which John doesn't understand, and when he asked what we were saying, I told him it wasn't anything important. That seemed to irritate him. Later, when people asked why I was being quiet, I asked some of his friends if I had been acting crazy or annoying earlier. They all said no, which John overheard. At one point, John came into the room where I was with my sister and accused me again of being too high energy. He told me I should come down to his level. I said I shouldn't have to mirror him, and he got frustrated. Throughout the night, he kept coming to me in front of others saying things like, "If you don't want to be here, you can freak off." This happened more than once. At the bar, after he said it again and swore at me, I refused to kiss him when he demanded it. Eventually, after more swearing and him being in my face, I snapped. I knocked his drink out of his hand. Then, when one of his friends offered me a drink, I poured it on John's head. He tried to push me away and ended up punching me in the shoulder. After that, I grabbed my sister and we left. Now, John says I embarrassed him in front of his friends, ruined his birthday celebration, and made a huge scene. From my perspective, I was just trying to defend myself after being called crazy, dismissed, and repeatedly told to leave. For context, John had been drinking earlier in the day and also took some drugs at the pre-drinks. I was drinking too, but not heavily at that point of the altercation. This was the first time we've ever had an argument at this level. Normally, disagreements are minor, like over movies. There was one past fight where he said I didn't do enough for him, but we resolved that after talking it through. We've been seeing each other from May to September, not officially in a relationship yet, but we've discussed being exclusive. After leaving the bar, I ended up going to another party. I cried and I was with my friends and told them about what had happened, and they supported me. Around 5:30 a.m., I went to John's house to grab the rest of my stuff. His dad let me in, but when I started asking John about where some of my things were, we got into another argument. His dad stepped in and suggested I come back the next day, but I refused. I told them I just wanted to get my things and be done with him. John and I ended up outside swearing at each other. He told me I humiliated him in front of his friends, and I told him he humiliated me first by swearing at me unprovoked multiple times. For most of the night when he was swearing at me, I was honestly in shock and just stayed quiet and refused to kiss him. He argued that I should have ignored it and acted like nothing happened, then talked later. At one point, John said I act like I can't be controlled, and that I should be more submissive to him. I've told him before I won't tolerate someone who tries to forcefully control me, and if that's what he wants, he can leave me alone. Hearing him double down on that confirmed what I'd already started realizing. Some background: the only other real fight we'd had was months earlier, when he said I wasn't doing enough for him. In reality, that came from me raising the issue that he was selfish in bed, and I was left unsatisfied multiple times. I brought it up privately, and we discussed it more than once, because I wanted to make sure I didn't make him insecure. During our text argument after the party, he told me I should go fuck someone else, and I asked if that's why he was being so nasty, because of that past conversation. He said I was dishonorable and other insults. We went back and forth with the swears in text. In the end, I don't regret pouring the drink on him as much as I regret not removing myself the first time he spoke to me like that. And yes, I did tell him I did not want to be with him after the altercation at the bar, and reiterated while grabbing my things also. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for how I handled things that night? Am I the a-hole for not allowing my kids to travel to Middle East, Dubai, with their dad this winter to visit his family? I, 41 female, had a very difficult marriage with my ex-husband, 42 male, who was financially and emotionally controlling. We lived in the Middle East after our marriage, where he kept control of my and the children's passports and restricted us from traveling. His family constantly interfered and caused conflict, and because he was financially dependent on his father, he never defended me. Eventually, we came to the US with my children. His family told me I could only return if I followed their rules, but I chose to stay in the US, built a career in IT, and ultimately left the marriage. Since then, we've been co-parenting. I have primary custody, and while he pays child support, he refuses to provide clothing or essentials for the children, and instead deducts those expenses from my child support payment. I currently have a case pending with the Division of Child Services regarding his violations of our agreements. He does not have a job and relies on his family for income. Earlier this summer, he asked if the children could go with him to the Middle East. I told him I was not comfortable with that, especially given the risk that he could keep them there without my say. Since then, he has been ignoring me completely. He only speaks through the children, has ignored over 20 of my messages, and I later discovered he blocked me. During this time, I was handling all of the children's medical and school needs, including physical, dental, cleanings, orthodontic consultations, and back-to-school preparations, without any input or communication from him. He has also made inappropriate comments to the children, telling them I am just mad because I can't afford to go to the Middle East, and even laughed about it with his brother in front of them. Now, with his brother's girlfriend expecting a baby in December, he wants the kids to travel there for the birth. But given his history of control, the lack of communication, his habit of deducting child support, and the real legal risks of the children not being allowed to return, I do not feel comfortable allowing them to go. Am I the a-hole for not letting them go to Dubai visit my ex's family? Am I the a-hole for pulling away from my identical twin sister even though I know it has caused her to spiral? I am an identical twin. Our parents encouraged an insanely close to the point of codependency relationship, and my sister fell hard into it while I resented the hell out of it. Our parents even named us super similarly. My sister is Katie and I am Casey, and the spelling of my name was chosen intentionally. Our parents wanted us to match always. My parents and sister always expected us to do everything together. We shared a bedroom and bed our whole lives until June. That's when I packed up my stuff and I moved out of our parents' house. Our parents insisted to every school we went to and every teacher we had that we'd be in the same class and sitting next to each other all year. When we had field trips, we were to be each other's buddy. If one was invited to a birthday party, then the other was assumed to be invited too, regardless of whether they were or not. All of our extracurriculars were the same, and it was fucking miserable for me, because I hated them. Those were all my sister's interests, not mine. Anytime I tried to set boundaries with my sister, she'd discard them and would carry on as normal. And normal for us was being codependent and super enmeshed. I was never very close to our parents, but I gave up on ever having a good relationship with them when I was 11. And they got mad at me for keeping a secret friend from my sister. They actually accused me of bullying because I wanted to keep a friend to myself. That's how bad things were. My sister has always hated when someone liked me and wanted to be my friend, but didn't like her or want to be her friend. For my sister, we are one and the same. If you like one, you like both. She doesn't see us as our own individual people, just as twins. Identical twins who are alike in every single way possible. I remember being in the hospital when I was 14, and she wasn't allowed to stay with me, and my parents were removed from the hospital for abusing the staff over enforcing that rule of no minors overnight. I was released after 2 days, and those were the best nights of sleep I had until that point. I also felt like I got some breathing room, which was needed. My sister never slept. She was an absolute mess because I wasn't there. It made me wish I could have stayed in the hospital indefinitely. We were supposed to go to the same college, live together, and our parents planned on bullying admin at our school of choice into assigning us as roommates. But then I acted like I wasn't going to college. I stayed with a friend and blocked my family for a while before me and my friend moved out of state to a community college. I got a job too so I can support myself, which is also my reason for community college. I did unblock my sister, and it's been awful. I have debated whether I block her again or not, but if I do, I know it will be a forever thing. There is no doing it for now. If I block her again, I won't ever have a relationship with her again. So I'm trying not to and seeing if she can try and grow. But she fell apart without me. She's already dropped out of college. She's back living with our parents. She has pleaded with me to come and take her home with me. Our parents use her phone to call me and say I'm awful for pulling away from my sister who needs me. They said I'm being abusive and accused me of trying to unalive her with this. I can see her downward spiral, but I just can't be enmeshed with her for the rest of my life. I want to be me, not Katie's twin Casey. Am I the a-hole? And it's in that sad undertone that our video comes to an end. If you guys liked it, please leave a comment and subscribe. Until the next video.